Alright, so now it's time to fix up the monitor, and what that means is cap kits, reflow, connectors, all that good stuff. So, at the cap kit, including the filter cap for the B+, which goes right here, and replace those while I'm cleaning the connectors. I think the big issue is that the connectors are just dirty inside. Need to clean this up with a fiberglass brush and deoxit the crap out of it and reflow all the connections to it. And I think that will make the monitor come back to life. Hopefully. We'll see. So I'm going to try not to bore you with constant soldering, desoldering footage. So just as an example, we'll do this one, and then I'll get the rest of them done. Because there's a billion videos on YouTube of replacing capacitors, and it's really easy. So this is the input card. This is where the video input comes in and goes to the chassis. And the video output for the color brightness goes to the neck board from here. And this capacitor's got to go. It's 1,000 microfarad, 16 volts. The replacement is 1,000 microfarad at 25 volts, obviously. You can always use higher voltage, but you always want to use the same capacitance rating. So we'll just desolder this one real quick. It should be pretty easy. That's easy peasy. There's a little bit of gunk in there. I don't know if you can really see that. But yeah, it came out like this, and it lines up with the silk screen. See, it says positive right there, and that's the positive side. The negative side is striped on most capacitors. So we'll put this one in just like how this one came out. The footprint's a little bit different on this one. Bend those a little bit so it stays in place. And now we can clip the leads. It appears that my snips have become magnetic. And that's one capacitor. This is the easiest board because it only has one capacitor. Now I'll continue and get the rest of them, and then we'll talk about the pins. Alright, so all the capacitors have been replaced, except for this one right here was not included in the capacitor kit. This is like a 0.1 microfarad at 1,500 volts. This is just to filter for the screen voltage coming out of the flyback, so that's 900 volts. There shouldn't be any current going through there anyway, so I don't think the voltage should really fluctuate too much. I think it'll be fine anyway. So I got all the rest of them replaced. Those are all new. Got a new B+ cap installed there. Everything, all the smaller boards has been replaced. All new capacitors there. So next thing to do is to clean and reflow the solder joints here. So that's pretty straightforward and simple stuff. I'm sitting here trying to say simple and straightforward at the same time because my brain does that. So all you gotta do is just desolder the crap. Like that, and then put new solder on it. Do a full resolder, I guess, reflow, whatever you want to call it. Make it so there's no potential for, oh shit, bad solder joints. Got on my face. So just gotta do that for every one of these cards, every one of these, or every connector on the board for the chassis, main chassis over here too. And then what I'm also gonna do is I got Q-tips. Well, I was going to use my fiberglass pen to clean up some of these pins, but I guess I'll just have to stick with Q-tips and deoxit. Just clean up all the pins and give them a good scrub off or whatever, as well as I can with a Q-tip, so that you'll make a good connection. I'll probably hose off the inside of these cards too, and reseat them a few times just to have the pins self-clean themselves. So I'll do that, and I'll be right back. So all the nitpicky little maintenance stuff is done. So all new caps. I sprayed the pots with deoxit, cleaned up the connectors. This one's a little bit loose compared to these two right here, because this one does a lot more work, probably gets a lot more heat up in this area here. So it's probably a bit more worn out, but I think it's going to be a lot better than it was. So I got to hook it back up to here, if I remember how to. I got pictures, but what a pain. I'm going to do that off camera because that's a pain. Alright, so 2 years later we got this thing put back together. That's a lot of connectors. We got the ground put back together, got the high voltage, got all the crap, connected neck board, all that good stuff. So I think we're ready to go. See what it does, fire it up, see if it explodes, see if I got any capacitors in there backwards, all that good shit. So I'm going to turn this cabinet around, and I'm going to take the tie downs for the harness out so I can plug it in from outside the cabinet, so I don't be putting it in and out the whole time. So 1 second. So the monitor is hooked up. I have safety glasses on for just in case a capacitor that I put in backwards blows up and flings things into my eyes. I have the HV probe in the anode cup for monitoring the HV. We're going to see if it makes a picture now. Fires away, or fire in the hole. And 30 kV on this fucker. I'm still not seeing anything. Let me turn off the lights just to be sure. No, we got nothing. Oh, there's something. That's what the service switch activated. So that is functioning now, kind of. So that makes me think that there's something here that's maladjusted. So that's normal. That's how that should be. It's just so dim. If I could turn off that light and see if there's any proper net glow. I can't verify the voltage on the filament, but there is life here. So I turn the service switch and that comes on. That means that the vertical basically shuts off. Hey, that's starting to come up a little bit. I think it also knocks down the. There's something else that it modifies too, as far as the picture settings. Let's turn some knobs. What's the focus? Doesn't change anything. Changing the vertical. Whatchamabobber doesn't change anything. I don't want to stick my hands in there. Fuck. Touching that knob doesn't do anything. Let's try. That one doesn't do anything. This one doesn't do anything. So it's got 30 kV on the tube. The schematic says 28, so that should be in range for nothing coming onto the screen. Alright, just to be safe, let's poke the B plus and see what the B plus is, make sure that's correct. So I couldn't find an easy peasy way to test the B plus on this thing on some other website. Not that I really looked very hard, so I'm going to look myself. The B plus comes off the regulator right here, and it goes down to the power board through pin 4. We can test it at test point 91, and test point 91 is so conveniently hidden behind this black stabilizer deal. It's right there. We're going to test it there to the frame. If I can grab onto something here. That'll work. So we're looking for 128 volts. 129.9 volts. Around there. So, let's see what we were getting. 131. That's just a hair hot. That's fine though. That's not high enough to trip the shutdown circuitry for too much high voltage, so that means that 30 kilovolts on the tube is probably just fine, especially considering, well, let me look over here just half a second so I can show you. It says right there, high voltage 28 kilovolts. So let's see, there's our there's a pretty line. You can tell that's the game video. You can see that. That's the red text there. That's going to go away. See that kind of blinking right there for the text I was blinking. You can sort of see the stars moving across there too. So you can tell it's getting video and it's trying to display it. See, there's the aliens now. That is the right colors now, aren't they? What the hell? That is a bluish. But for some reason, when we turn off the service switch, we have blank. So let's turn down. Well, which one's what? That's horizontal hold. And let's fuck with the vertical size. Maybe the vertical size is too big, but you would see that if that were the case. Wiggle in the pot. Wiggle that pot. Nothing changes. We got vertical size. Let me poke around on some of these screen pots. I'm not seeing anything. I think I need to check the voltages at the back of the CRT socket. So now I got my test pattern generator rigged up for the funny pinout on the monitor, so it should be. If we look at here on the schematic, we got sync, ground, red, blue, and then green with the blank pin in between blue and red. So that's correct. This guy should have battery. Yep, that's got battery. We're going to turn off all the guns, or turn off all the video, so that the guns should be off. It's going to be in standard resolution here. So we're going to check some grid voltages on the tube. We're not going to check focus, that's on its own line. If focus was out, we would not have such a sharp line, I don't think. So focus has to be there. We're going to check grid 2, which is the screen, and grid 1, which is whatever the hell. Grid 1 should be less than 210 volts. We're going to test that at socket pins 3, 7, and 12. And then let me get a notepad. Alright, pen and paper acquired. Let's fire this thing up with the test pattern generator. That's turned on. It's going to go right there. There's the monitor plug-in. We're going to check the heater first, because the glow is not very bright on that. That's not horizontally syncing to that. I can't tell. I'm just going to put it to where it's not humming at me. Alright, so I got my meter in AC mode. so we can test the heater. It should be, which one says it? Hard to see with this camera in the way. Six volts, 5.9. So the heater is good. G1, 37 volts. Green cathode, 147. Blue cathode, 212. Red cathode, 212. G2, 758. G2, 2, 814. G2 on 13 is 800 volts. So that seems okay. So G2 is fine, heater is fine at 6 volts. We got G1. That one's a bit funny. I'm not sure what G1 is supposed to be. That might be low. G1 is 40 volts. So it's like the cathode would be pulling from G1. What the hell? Another test we can do is check for AC voltage on the cathodes. Because if there's AC voltage bouncing around, that means the cathodes are trying to output something. And then if that doesn't do anything, we can try grounding one of the cathodes while the monitor is running and see how bright it gets. And maybe this tube's just dead, and I don't know. So let's check for voltage, or AC voltage on cathode. Green cathode is not 42 milliamp, or millivolts. Let me change my range to 60 volts. G1. Nothing there. Red cathode, nothing there really. No voltage fluctuations. Blue cathode, nothing. Let's turn on service switch. So now we have the line again. Let's check the cathodes again. Green cathode. Green cathode has 27 volts AC. I might have it on a that one there should have all three guns firing. Green cathode 10 volts. Turn it to normal. Down to 0 volts. Up to 10 again. Cathode red, 9 volts while in test, 0 volts in normal. So we're losing our drive voltage. So it's not driving the drive transistors to pull the cathode low and get any electrons to fly through the tube. So in order to make sure that, or verify this thing isn't just a dead tube completely, the end, I got the reflector thing over there, and it should be reflecting what the tube has on it. So if I put this in service mode and turn it on, here in a moment you should be able to see the line and the reflection there, along with me being able to see that line and the reflection. Oh, this thing is tired, I think. It takes a while to come up. You should barely be able to see that over there. I don't know. Yeah, you kind of can. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it off test mode. The line disappeared. I'm going to put my meter into current mode, much to its complaint. Wow, this one doesn't complain? What the hell? I realized something. I'm stupid. The fuse in this meter is dead. Because I killed it right before I quit my last job, where this came from. That's no good. I overcurrented that one. We need a different meter. This one right here will do what we require. Hit red cathode. Nothing. Green cathode. Oh, that did light up. We are lighting up. Barely, barely, barely. Dim, dim, dim. Blue cathode. It is lighting up. I can't tell. I can't see. I'm not going to reach around and hit that. But you can see, let's see here. I'll put this over here. You'll see this is going to be red. This is going to be green cathode. This is going to be blue cathode. So, this thing is not dead. It's got something. So I have been poking around and I'm really suspecting the switch. So, if we look over here, I couldn't really get to what I wanted to test, but I was able to test the back side of this potentiometer to the leg on this resistor here, and I got 83 ohms, which is about right because that pot's turned up pretty high, so 83 ohms from here to here, or 88 ohms. So I tried testing it from here because I knew that was the I should have tested it from there, but I tested it from here. I checked for 88 ohms across this, going up through the switch, up through here, up to this connector here, and I'm not getting anything. So I think this switch right here is not functioning right, and this would turn off the cathodes, I think, if that's disconnected possibly, or affect how the cathodes respond to stuff, due to this going up to here and having something to do with the black level plot, or which it, you know, the brightness and all that good stuff. So if the brightness is not right, yeah, you're not going to get any brightness. I wonder if, yeah, if the brightness is disconnected, and I have I basically have the screens up all the way, and I'm still not getting a raster. It's probably because it's not getting the voltage it wants from here. So I'm thinking this switch is bad. I might pull the chassis out and just hardwire that switch in, since I don't really need service mode. It's an arcade game. I can throw a test pattern generator on there. I can get a close enough image. It's Galaxian. It's not really needing a high precision, you know, gray tracking and whatever the shit. Okay, so I checked the switch. The switch is working just fine now that I deoxided the shit out of it. It was working fine when I had it together just a minute ago. So I kept on looking up through the circuit here, and so it goes through the switch down. That's not the right one. It goes through the switch down here. This switch here. It gets its voltage or whatever from up here, blah blah blah, and up through here, and it goes to this transistor right here. I tested this transistor, it's working good. I pulled this potentiometer, and I think I found my problem. It's this potentiometer for the black level. So this is supposed to be 1.5K. Let me grab this. Should measure 1.5K across the thing. Whoop. We're gonna measure it right here. What is it doing? That should not be changing. That should be like 1.5. So this pot's just roasted. So I don't have a 1.5K pot, and I want this monitor to work now. So I have this 2K pot that I pulled off of a Tempest board for the Y linearity. I'm going to test this. So as a 2K pot should be, it's 2K. And let's check and make sure there's no dead spots or anything in there. So this pot still sucks, but it's better than it was before I deoxided it. Yeah, I'll put this in there. We'll see if we can make a picture. And that will probably be it. I might adjust it, but I think I need to get the real pot for it, the 1.5, because I'm not entirely sure if it matters what the resistance is from here to here. So that would be wrong if it's requiring a 1.5K pot. But we'll throw it in there and see what's doing. It couldn't be worse than the other one. It should display at least something. And thus, I have committed the sin of making this shit really stupid. This is about to get really fucking stupid. I might get a picture. I might not get a picture. I might get a picture too bright. I might get a picture too dim. Everything is plugged back in. Thingamabobber is turned on. The anode's not flopping around, so I'm not going to get zapped. Yeah, let's see what happens. Nobody home. There's our blue line. Let's wait for it to come up. Yeah, it's not horizontally synced, I can tell. Fucking really? There's just nothing. Well, I can turn that pot the other way. Give it a second to discharge. Here we got the pot turned to one extreme. Let's see if we got our line first. We're getting Mr. Line to come up. Holy shit, there's a rash. So we got the brightness to come up. There's a raster now. Okay, that's just fucking being retarded. Just trying to sync to something there. Let me turn this knob. Just trying to, let's hook it up to the game. See what happens. For shits and giggles. It's probably gonna show nothing. We just got too much brightness, not enough drive, so. It ain't gonna show anything. But hey, it's got a pretty nice gray right there. I'd say the guns are kind of balanced. So whoever set the gray tracking, or whatever the hell, color tracking, did a pretty good job, or it stayed pretty balanced over the years. So after I got that potentiometer installed there, I hooked my meter to where the collector would be on the drive transistors, and I adjusted the voltage to by adjusting the brightness or black level to the voltage specified on the schematic, and I get this. I still don't think the drive is working quite right, because I can get a brighter raster just by cranking up on that pot. And also the horizontal is not syncing quite right, although I don't know if it's just the test pattern generator that's causing this. See if I grab this and start. Well, I can. This is me bumping up, wiggling the card. Wiggling that card. Just wiggling the card just gets kind of funny, funny bullshit. That's the closest I can get to horizontal lock. I'm not gonna mess with the horizontal centering. I'm gonna plug in the game and see what the game looks like. Well, The game is working. Very dimly. So I think the best way to test the monitor is to use the game for picture testing, because it seems like to work better. That is sync, I do believe. Yeah, that's sync. Let's get the I don't think the drive is working right. Let's get the vertical size up there. That's very dim, but it's functioning. You can get it to line up pretty close to the burn, as it should be. And I don't know. There's let's see what the I got my meter still hooked up. Let's see what the using DC. Let's see what the average. Well, it's not going to give us a very good answer of what's going on with the cathodes, because I think that might just be a dead tube. I hope not. That's going to require work to replace. Actually, I don't know if I can find a replacement tube for this chassis. I think there's still something wrong with this chassis, I think. Let's see. You know, after a little bit of adjusting, I could make it serviceable. It's clearly on its last legs. I turned down the screens a little bit, turned up the brightness, or the black level, and I got... If I put it in the cabinet and I play it, it's reasonable. You can play the game, but the this tube is on its last legs. It won't get proper focus anymore. It's a little bit blown out. I can't quite get the raster to go away, but you know, this will be serviceable until I get a new monitor for it, unfortunately. But that's just how it goes. I'll get this thing tilted up and we can do a bit of setup, so maybe hopefully I can get that purity fixed. If I set it up on its end, the purity issues might go away. I'll just run the degauss coil on it. Yeah, this thing is super tired tube. It takes a while. I'm gonna let it warm up for a minute. It takes about 5 minutes for this thing to fully heat up, warm up, get a good picture going. But you know, this is although it's a little blown out, can't get proper focus on it. It's just a bit too bright. With the lights out or back in the cabinet, you know, I think I could play a game of Galaxian on this. So yeah, now that I set the tube up, the purity issues have gone away. I don't even need to use my ring of shame, but I'll use it anyway just for the fun of it. This is a degauss coil. You can do that with it, but it didn't even need that. It's got a little bit of a red tint to it. It's starting to see some raster through the black. It's not fully black like you would want it to be, but you know, if I turn down the brightness any, I'll lose contrast. So the drives are all the way up. This is the deathbed of this tube. Drives are all the way up. Let's put it back in. This thing doesn't need any adjustment at all. It's perfectly fine. Well, considering the state of the monitor, this thing's gotta go bye-bye. Unfortunately. For now. Okay, I'm gonna pull this off actually. Well, now that I got the shade out of there, and the monitor's been warming up for about 3 minutes, you know what? It's serviceable. I can play a game of Galaxian on this. Outside of the cabinet where it's in the light, it looks freaking horrible, but you know what? This is actually... that's pretty dang good. Actually, I don't know. You know, it might be worn out. It might not get proper focus anymore. But that, if you look at it from here, it looks like a perfectly happy thing. Just don't turn on all the lights. I guess with the Galaxian marquee up, you're not going to see the black turning kind of reddish from the brightness being up too high. But you know what? That's perfectly fine. Let's play a game. Yeah, I must have had some of the video wires backwards when I was running the game board on the LCD, but it'll play a game. But now that I got the glass in here, this volume's have to come down. It's loud. I actually do like Galaxian more than Galaga. Galaga takes too long to get hard. This game just wants you to die immediately. Which is fine by me. Oh shit. I'm surprised I haven't died yet. That's a new record for me. But now that I say that. Oh shit. I didn't get that. Oh shit. You're getting ballsy. Wow. Shit. Yeah, I'll probably make another video rebuilding the joystick, repinning the connector, all the good stuff, the boring stuff that you have to do in a game like this. So the joystick needs a little bit of help. But it's come a long way just from some leaf adjustments and cleaning. How did I not die? is the first time I got 10,000 points. The game is happy with me. Oh shit, now they're coming in. Only 150. Damn. Nope, that's it. It's a good thing this game only gives you one extra life, because you could probably go on for a long time if it didn't. Anyway, that's a fixed monitor, as unhappy as it is.